Private Lender Podcast, Episode 16.
The Private Lender Podcast quote of the day comes to us from the Bible, Proverbs 13:11, which says, "Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow."
This is the Private Lender Podcast, the show that shares practical advice and know-how for new and seasoned lenders. From private mortgages on single-family houses to joint ventures on commercial projects and beyond. Discover details about investment vehicles that you won't find at your local bank or online broker. Listen and learn from private lenders and real estate investors, as well as from professionals and entrepreneurs, as they share the details, strategies, and the insight that allows for successful and prosperous lending. Now, get ready to increase your ROI. Here's your host, Keith Baker.
Welcome to the Private Lender Podcast, and thank you for sharing your time with me today on episode 16, where you're going to hear an interview that I conducted with Ricardo Rosales and Dennis Rodriguez of sameascash.com. They also have a podcast called Renovating Riches Radio. You can catch them out at renovatingrichesradio.com and also on Facebook. However, before we get into the interview, I'd like to remind you guys that if you're listening to this on Monday, the 16th of April, 2018, or Tuesday, the 17th, 2018, those are your last 2 days to open up a self-directed IRA account or an HSA or a Coverdell education account at Quest IRA, and they will waive the fees. Just use the promo code or coupon code KEITHQ, that's KEITHQ, on your application, and you'll get it. It'll be free. Those account opening fees. It's $100 savings. I don't get any money from that at all, but it is something I'd like to get everybody. If I'm going to build a tribe of lenders, and I want to get that out there to everybody so they can start opening up IRAs and learning about diversification outside of Wall Street. I'd also like to mention that on May 31st, I'll be teaching a class, Introduction to Private Lending, at the Rich Club, or the Realty Investment Community of Houston. You can go to richclub.org for more information, or you can go to privatelenderpodcast.com and go to the events tab. So let's go ahead and get into the interview with Ricardo Rosales and Dennis Rodriguez of sameascash.com and Renovating Riches Radio. So welcome, Lender Nation. Today I'm sitting in the offices and the studio of Same As Cash, Ricardo Rosales and Dennis Rodriguez.
Hi,
Guys,
everyone.
I say welcome to the Private Lender Podcast, but thank you for having me in your home studio. This is something new for me. I've got 4 cameras pointing at my face right now. I've always been told that I have the face for radio, so this is making me a little nervous. But hey, you know,
And you got the voice too, man.
I appreciate it.
You got the voice too, you know.
Yeah, I got little James Earl Jones going on.
There you go. I see. I can't do that.
So anyhow, man, yeah. Thanks again, guys, and let's start off. Let's see. Let's give me your origin story. Give me your superhero story. How'd you? Each of you start off. How did you guys get together, and how did Same As Cash?
I'll let Ricardo start. Ricardo, you want to tell the story? You know, not a good story started by eating a salad, right? So we were drinking beer at a barbecue. I don't even remember if it was a barbecue or whatnot, but it was a party.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It was a party of a friend of ours that we had in common, and he invited me. I showed up, and that's where I met Dennis. Basically, Dennis was his neighbor. And this is kind of funny because I had been in real estate already for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And for the first time in my life that I remember, I introduced myself as like, "Hey man, so what's going on? How are you? My name is Ricardo, and what do you do?" And I hear this comeback saying, "I'm a real estate investor."
There you go.
Bam.
That's
and I was like, "What?
People learn."
You are what? A real estate investor?" And I was like, "So am I." And he looked at me, like his eyes just got wide open, like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Dude, I flip houses, man." "Man, where do you flip?" So that's how the whole conversation started. And next thing you know, I asked him, I said, "So Dennis, how many deals are you doing right now?" And he's like, "Well, I haven't done anything yet because I've been waiting for that flip to show up in Katy, Texas." And exactly. So I just did that. I laughed.
Come
I was
on,
like,
man. Give
I
me
was
some
like-
credit here.
Hey, we've all been there. We've all been
I
there.
was
It's no
like, you're
problem.
waiting for what? For a deal in Katy, man? You're gonna get to 80 years old and never find that deal in Katy.
I'm looking for that flip on my street.
Exactly. and I said,
Isn't that what the gurus tell you to do?
Oh, yeah.
Go around your neighborhood and find a deal. Like, there's one right in the corner.
yeah,
right?
even in bigger pockets, right? You go in bigger pockets, and just flip in your own neighborhood, 5 minutes
Start with your
away.
neighborhood.
Well, we don't live in that nation. We live in Houston, Texas, where it's hard to get a deal.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what part of the country is that where you can find a deal.
That might be like in the country somewhere, like maybe if I live in Sweeney or something like that, I can find me a deal next door. But on my case, I was living in Cypress when I started, and then I moved off to Katy. But none of my flips were ever either in Cypress or Katy.
Right.
They were like an hour away, an hour and a half away. And at the time, I can't remember. I was flipping maybe one or two houses. And he's like, so where are you flipping these houses, right? And I was like, in Leak. One of them was in Leak City or Friendswood,
Yeah.
and the other one was in Clear
Southeast.
Lake. Yeah, southeast.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where that was.
Yeah, he's like, where is that at? And I said, well, Clear Lake, NASA,
On the way to the
45.
beach,
I mean,
yeah.
45 South. And he's like, you drive all the way over there for your flips? And I was
Yep.
like, yeah, man, I got no other choice because that's where I find the deals.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how the whole relationship started. And he's like, man, I'm a realtor. And is there any way that I can add value to you? And maybe you can teach me some of the stuff that you know how to do.
Great question.
And
I mean, you can tell I was following the program, right? One thing I know how to do is follow instructions.
yeah, that's a good engineer. He's an engineer, by the way.
Engineer by trade. Okay.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
good. No, you add value, and then you get value in return. So that's
And
good.
and I've heard this question many times, and I go, okay, is this guy gonna waste my time now, or? So I threw it to a test. This is Saturday. We're midnight, drinking beer, and I go, look, just come by the house tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we can get started. And he's like, dude, tomorrow is like Sunday, man. I said, I know. It's about the only time I got available to sit down with you and talk about some real estate.
Yeah.
And that's how the whole thing started. And needless to say, he was there 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. We were both probably hungovers.
That's the important question. I was going to say, how hungover, how red were the eyes?
It was just beer.
No, we didn't get drunk either. We were just eating and drinking a few beers. It wasn't anything crazy. But we started,
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. We started with the eyes red. We started talking about. I started telling him how I found my deals.
Yeah.
I said, look, man, this is what I do. At the time, I strictly bought houses of the MLS. So I was an MLS hacker.
Okay, let me back up just a little bit there and interrupt you. What year were you talking about here?
We're looking at 2014,
Okay.
roughly.
Okay.
Maybe a little, I don't know, maybe 14, 13.
It was that summer. I think
It's 2014.
14. It was
Yeah,
2014.
2014.
So coming out of the Great Recession, things are starting to move. You can still get deals off the MLS.
Oh, absolutely. So I, for a long time, prior to that, I have flipped a lot of houses, and I had a lot of rentals in areas like 77033, which people from Houston can relate to. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I was sick and tired of them because half of my rentals were making money, the other half were not making money.
Yeah.
So my cash flow was like almost nothing, but they were appreciating in value. So as soon as a property came off a tenant, I sold it, and I started recycling and moving into better properties. So now I was looking at properties on the MLS because most of the investors at the time were buying from wholesalers. They had forgotten about the MLS.
Right.
So the problem with me and wholesalers back then is that the wholesalers they're making such a big fee that they didn't leave enough meat on the bone for the investor to chew off from. So I had no problems on dealing with red tape and things of that nature with banks as long as the properties had enough meat on the bone.
Yeah.
They had enough equity. Basically, meat on the bone equals equity. So
And for our lenders out there, that's the loan to value. You want the loan to value in this case is going to be 70% or under.
Yeah, we always win 70% or under.
I know a lot of wholesalers when they advertise or they blast out the emails. You do a quick math, it's like 83%.
Yeah, 85. Some of them go all the way to 90, and I was like, how can somebody
no rehab needed? 90%.
Right.
Next. Move.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or $2,000 rehab.
Yeah, it's a $2,000 rehab, needs a new roof, a new AC, and a bathroom, but you can get it for $2,000.
So because of that, I got very good at the MLS, and I was picking perfect houses. I mean, good rehabs in good neighborhoods that would move fast, that needed more than normal. So I will go for the very distressed properties, the ones that needed everything pretty much, because I knew banks wanted to dump them. So. Right. I got very good at that, and I designed a super search in this case on HAR, where I play with the filters, and I can spot all the different properties in the different neighborhoods, and then run comps within the neighborhood to understand whether the property was worth going to see it. So that morning we met, and I said, Dennis, this is how I look for my houses, man. But I didn't have access to the MLS, so I couldn't see.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
I couldn't see the agent's remarks or any of that stuff. Now because he was a realtor, he had that access. So I said, okay, now not only I'm going to get somebody to go do the super search for me, but he can tell me everything that is on the agent remarks.
Absolutely.
And run the comps.
And run the comps.
You had a realtor that was helping you before I show up in your life.
Yeah. No, I had.
It's just that she was more like a retail.
Oriented.
Yeah. So I mean,
she's looking for that end buyer.
Right.
Correct. It's harder to convince them to run all these comps and submit all these.
And she did it for the most part.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it will take me hours before I get those comps back. So I got very good at looking at houses in HAR, for instance, and looking at Zillow and looking at all these other things and kind of like making a medium of what the property was really worth. And of course, with prior experience, you feel comfortable about putting an offers on things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much what got us started. Now, at some point, so then he started doing the whole thing. He started searching for properties, getting us deals, looking for, making the appointments, and we'll go and look at the property together, and we'll say, man, this needs a new roof. This needs, foundation, electrical, blah blah, and we'll write it down. And it's okay. This property is going to be a $40,000 or $50,000 rehab, and we'll make an offer based on that. But those deals dried out. Then the MLS completely went empty.
Right.
And now we were like, what do we do to find more flips? So that's how Same as Cash was born. We basically were in my office, in my house one day. It was me, Jose, and Dennis. Jose is our other partner in Same as Cash, who we actually just we're in the process of buying him because he's got a full-time gig. So we kind of like say, look, you either come work with us full-time or you keep your job full-time, but we'll work something to where you're compensated for all your efforts in the past. And he's like, guys, I gotta take the job. I got other plans, and I'm not so involved anymore in real estate. I don't think I'll be, because he's got a bunch of rentals now. So that's enough for him to manage. And we're like, okay, let's trade off here, and away we went. But back then, all three of us will go to the properties and make offers. Now, Jose and I were business partners in another company, the one that flipped the houses. So Dennis was basically becoming our main realtor. But now that we thought about, okay, why don't we just go and start mailing for motivated sellers and create Same as Cash? And this is a new company where all three of us will work together. And that's how Same as Cash was born.
All right. And all off of direct mail.
And it was a necessity. It was all about a necessity for us to find our own deals to flip our own houses.
Yeah, it was becoming harder and harder to find deals in the MLS. We're talking about 2015 now. So, things started to dry up. And
well, this is still 2014. The end of 2014 is when we really, I think is when we registered the company, maybe early 15. But we didn't do anything with it. We just kind of like dabbled with it for a little while. We knew that we wanted it, and we knew what we wanted to do, but we still had enough deals on the pipeline to where that was enough for all of us to be busy. After those deals started drying out, then we started thinking, okay, Are we gonna do letters? Are we gonna do postcards? What works? And for the most part, Dennis is the one that kind of like took the leadership there on doing some due diligence on what needed to happen, because we all had jobs. We were all fully employed.
So everybody had a W-2, a 9 to 5, and this is your side hustle.
Mine was 8 to 5, but yeah.
8 to 5. Oh, you work.
Yeah,
you work a little more than everybody else.
We have like an internal joke that every time someone say, "Oh, you had a 9 to 5 job," we tell like, "No, mine was 8 to 5. I've never had a job that's 9 to 5."
I did have 9 to 5 in Miami. That's how they call it. That's where it comes from. Miami, Florida, 9 to 5. That's about the only place I know they do 9 to 5s. And
I don't know.
And now that Keith mentions it,
I've worked in Atlanta, Washington D.C., Texas, and all my jobs are you need to be here at 8. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, we did have like our corporate.
So you were an engineer.
Yeah,
you're an engineer.
civil engineer.
Ricardo,
I was at the time when I met Dennis, I was running quite a large product line for one of the service companies in town, in the oil field.
Okay.
So I was sort of a business development guy / a P&L, manager, product line manager. But I was more a business person than anything else. I was negotiating contracts for the business itself, bidding on new contract work. I had a small group of engineers that were my eyes within these technical contracts. And I had probably about $100 million worth of P&L responsibility. So that gave me a big view of numbers, like they call it like the 10,000-foot view. I think This one was like a 100,000-foot view. And yeah, because I'd never been exposed to anything like that. Before that job, I was just a technician. I was on the rigs installing the wellheads and the trees and the control systems and all that stuff. So even though my responsibility was high money-wise, because if you stop the rig, you know what happens.
Oh yeah,
lots of money.
Time is money.
Yeah,
I worked on the rigs myself, and
When I jumped from being a technician into being a corporate jockey, is what I call it. Even though the pressure of being on the rig is not there anymore, now the pressure is different because you're managing hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And I had more than like 550 employees, and indirectly, not directly. Directly, I had like 4 or 5. And so, but that gave me an eye opening of really managing large amounts of money. And I don't think if I would have went through that corporate job, I would have been maybe thinking as big as we think today. In my case, I don't know about Dennis. I know Dennis handled like civil engineering stuff, and that's worth millions of dollars.
Yeah,
too.
Normally projects are in the millions, TxDOT and whatnot.
But I, like, for instance, I negotiated a contract where I awarded a contract to another company I bought them products of $40 million. So that was like, it took like a whole year to get to that number.
Right.
And then we bid on another contract where we were awarded a $500 million project. And in our company, that was a big deal because it was a huge contract. So that's where I come from. It's from the corporate background. And then one day I just got fired.
One day you just got fired?
I remember that day, man. It was August 15th, 2015. And at the time, we were flipping some houses. I was flipping 3 houses. Dennis had nothing to do with it. It was with Jose. And I remember, driving from the office to my house and telling, note to self, you will never work for anybody ever again.
Beautiful.
And it wasn't easy because it was a whole transition, right? You're used to that paycheck, the first of the month and the end of, or whenever.
The golden handcuffs.
Right, the golden handcuffs. My golden handcuffs were pretty good.
Yeah.
And they were very tight. So my job allowed me a lot of flexibility too. So I'm not mad at the company. I'm not mad at the corporations or anything like that. I was more mad about myself for sticking with it for so long.
Yeah.
But I'm actually grateful that I went through the whole process of everything I did. And I'm not a corporate hater. So I don't hate people that got corporate jobs or tell them, hey, you need to quit your job. No, I'm not anybody to tell anybody to do it. Maybe he can, but I can't. Because he quit. That's different. He's like, quit.
Were you fired or was it a downturn? Was it the oil downturn and just the reduction in force?
They said it was the oil downturn.
I said they use it. Well, I don't know.
That was the
who'd you work for?
excuse.
Who'd you work
Isn't
for?
that the excuse that they're all using?
If you'll say the company.
Yeah, I can say Weatherford. It was Weatherford.
I
Yeah.
used to work for Schlumberger myself. So
Okay.
yeah, I know we'd bring in new people and like in 2 months they were gone. Like why? Well, he wasn't up to snuff. Or they'd look for any excuse and say, oh well, we don't have the jobs or this and that. So yeah, I get you. I get you. I left myself too for the record, but no, it's all part of that story. Like I said, man, it's all part about how you got here.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, maybe.
Well, one of the things that happened was when I drove off that building, and I'm driving to my house, I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking of. Oh, by the way, the way I find out is I get an email the same day. I woke up late, like I don't know. I woke up like around 8 o'clock in the morning because I had been at an event, oil field event for the whole week. So I was just planning on taking Friday off, and I actually gave my guys Friday off, the ones that went with me to the event. I said, "Hey, Mike, Leo, you guys take the day off, dude. It's a done deal." And then I get this email. I wake up and I was like, "Man, meeting with the HR guy." With my boss, who's actually in Australia. So
Bring your laptop and your company badge, please.
no, but it's kind of funny because the meeting said we need to meet with the HR guy, and it was me and my other two guys that didn't make it that day either. So they got the same email, and they're like wondering what the heck is going on. Ricardo just told us not to come to work. And he didn't say anything about bringing computers or badges or anything related to that. And all I did was reply to the email and reschedule it for Monday. I said, hey, my boss is going to understand. He knows what I'm up to, so he's not going to say much about it. And not even 5 minutes later, my phone rings. And I'm still in bed. And I was like, hey, what's going on, man? And he goes, well, Ricardo, I had to do it, man. I just got to let you guys go. It wasn't even my decision. I was just told to do it. And it's due to the downturn and all of these things. And I was like, what? And then my phone is ringing from the other two guys. Hey, boss, what's going on? I say, hey, guys, we're getting laid off.
Yeah.
So, but I knew already it was going to happen at some point. I just didn't know when. And anyways, long story short, we all get laid off that day. I drove off home. I had not family, but some friends from Venezuela visiting. And we had a great time that weekend. We got drunk and, enjoyed ourselves. But I told my wife, who was pregnant at the time, and she didn't take it very well. So I had to take her to the. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, pregnant wives have a tendency not to take a layoff.
So she was like,
it's my experience.
6 months into it, I had to take her to the hospital and all that. But when I left, I called Jose and then I called Dennis, or one of the two first or whatever. I can't remember who. And I said, look, guys, this is about to get serious, man. And Jose says, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, because at the time I was only flipping houses. We weren't wholesaling or any of that stuff. So I need to go flip 10 houses now. He said, 10 houses? We're struggling with 2. And I was like, Jose, I understand, man, but I got no other choice.
Yeah.
And then I told Dennis, I said, Dennis, we need to ramp up this same as cash thing, man, because now this thing is about to get serious.
You got to get that pipeline of deals coming
I got to get deals coming up. We need to start wholesaling some houses. I need to live off of this. And I'm going to give it a go. And I told Jose the same thing. I said, Jose, I'm going to do this full time with or without you. And same thing to Dennis. So that's when Dennis started kind of,
that light bulb.
Yeah, I was like, oh, if he's doing it, I probably have to do it. At some point I'll have to quit. I was almost sure I wasn't going to get fired. I was a manager of my office, and not to brag about it, but I specialize in a very, very close niche in the industry where I think it took my boss maybe 2 years to find someone for my position. And he had to drag me from another company. I mean, there aren't many people that do what I was doing, so I felt pretty secure there. But yeah, I started thinking about leaving everything behind, my license, everything, and do real estate. It took me a while because I didn't quit. If this was August 15th,
Yeah, it took you about a year and a half.
year and a half later, it's when I decided, okay, it's my turn now to
Okay.
drop the bomb.
There you go. Just for you said Tex Dot, so Department of Transportation, were you like road and bridge construction, or what were you?
No, I was more. My specialty was it's called SUE, or subsurface utility engineering. So it's basically people that focuses on the underground infrastructure. So we marked utilities, all those color spray paint marks that you see in the street all the time.
The horizontal machines to run the fiber optics and everything.
Not really. We
Not
just
that? Okay.
we just mark the utilities.
Okay.
So when you walk around the city,
That's
and
what
you
he
see
wanted to do. He told me a bunch of times, man, I need to buy some of those machines that,
the horizontal.
the horizontal machines that run all the lines. I was like, why is that? Well, I always mark them so they can come in, use them. They make a bunch of money when they do that.
Yeah,
so
we make some money. They make a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always the one that's coming behind that makes the big money, right? So, yeah, I was running my own office, and then my boss resigned, so I pretty much took over the Dallas office, the Austin office. So as I was getting closer to resigning, they were feeding more work to me, and it make it even harder to say, gee, I mean, the day that I have to tell my new boss now, which was in Florida, that I'm going to resign, he's going to freaking flip, because now I'm the guy running Texas. So, but the funny thing is that that guy resigned before I did. So, and I remember telling Ricardo, dude, I don't even know who I'm going to resign to now, because the guy that was acting as my boss resigned like yesterday. So who do I resign now to? So I had to call like the manager of the managers over there in Florida, our headquarters, and say, hey, who do I need to resign to? Who do I turn my letter to? And he's like, I'll just give it to HR. At that point, many people were jumping from that company. I don't want to get into the details, but yeah, I mean, I took the decision. I went on my last vacation to my hometown, Puerto Rico, and I turned my letter while I was there. And since I had like 3 weeks of vacation, they told me, just burn your vacation, and when you come back, turn in your computer and all that, and your office.
I thought he was never going to resign, to be honest with you. Because
Those golden handcuffs, man. Sometimes they got the little fuzzies on them, and they feel good.
And it wasn't so much about that. It was more about getting closer to his death. Because he set a date. He said, "Hey, I'm going to resign the last day of the year."
Yeah, December 31st.
December 31st. And I even told him, I offered myself, said, do you want me to write the letter for you? Because at this point, I knew that if we went both together full time, we were going to be able to grow a lot. And actually, I know for a fact that if Jose would have jumped with us, we would be way further than where we are, because it's three that we knew each other already on how we worked and where we were good at or bad or whatever, our weaknesses, our strengths, and all of that. So we knew that in between all three of us could grow exponentially. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever the way you want to see it, Jose decided to take a different path.
Yeah.
Which we're still blessed, because he was with us when we started.
Sure.
But and I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. But we're still attached. We're not detached 100%, because I'm still business partners with him in some other ventures. But on the wholesaling side, Dennis and I sat down and we said, look, man, if we're going to make a living out of this, and especially, supplement our income that we had in our corporate jobs, we cannot just do this a couple of deals a month kind of thing. We have to do a lot of deals a month. It is the only way we're going to be able to survive wholesaling. And we started cranking it up big time towards the end of 2015. No, it's probably 2016.
Yeah, it was 15, because right before I resigned my job, we had so much business going.
You resigned on 16. The thing is, we're in 2018 now. A year has passed, and it looks like it's just a few months.
Gee, you're right.
But it was the end of 2016. We were flipping at the time. Me and Jose and our other business partner Brian, we were flipping something like 6 or 7 houses, and
A month or a year
at a time.
at a time. Okay.
It's kind of hard to say a month because
Well, yeah, I mean,
some of these flips take 4 months.
Take an
you know.
arbitrary chunk. You got 6 flips going at one
Right,
time.
we had 6 or 7 flips. Actually, it was more. It was like 8 flips going at one time. But it was all because of Same as Cash. Same as Cash had found the deals and wholesaled it to the other company, the sister company. And now we were making a living, or at least Dennis was making a living out of Same as Cash. I was making a living from the other company. And that's how we structured it. That way we all got paid and at least cover our basic needs.
Right.
But it got to the point to where we're like, okay, we can only flip so many houses in our other company. We need to grow from there. That way we can start fitting other investors. And something interesting happened. A lot of people started reaching out to me for guidance on how to find properties. Because somebody will tell them, like, hey, these guys are flipping 8 houses. And they'll, out of the blue, I get a phone call. And there's a guy with a Brazilian accent. Said Nick. He calls me up and said, hey, Ricardo, I hear you're flipping a lot of houses. I want to learn your system. And I was like, I really don't have a system. But let's meet, And then they're like, okay, so if we bring marketing money, will you help us negotiate some houses? And
Partnering in JV, absolutely.
right. So we started JVing with a bunch of other investors that will bring marketing money. We'll basically sit down and actually, I say we, but Dennis will sit down and design a marketing campaign, and then we'll start marketing, and then we will go help them out. And we started seeing deals going after deals, but we will JV, so we wouldn't get the whole chunk.
Sure.
And one of the things is we were trying to trick some of the private lenders,
like
the hard money lenders.
Whoa, you're trying.
It was
hard money. That's different.
It was hard money. It was hard money. Yeah, because what we say was, and this is all for all my hard money lenders out there, I'm tricking you out. Nah. Now these guys, they say, look, we'll put the marketing money, and you're gonna wholesale the houses to us. And I said, yeah, but your hard money lender doesn't know you're my partner 50% on the assignment.
Right.
So they were bringing money to closing because most hard money lenders will ask you to bring money to closing. But as soon as they put that money in, they were getting it right back because now we were splitting the assignments in between both of us. So they were getting houses, 100% funding from a hard money lender now. They needed a little bit of cash just to get on the deal, but they will get it right back the same day.
Right.
And before you knew it, we had like 20 people in our group doing the same thing. It started working for us because he gave us cash flow to start growing. But then they got full. They got so many houses, all of them, that they quit doing it. And I'm looking at Dennis, I'm like, okay, we're not full. We want to grow more.
Right.
But at this point, what we knew, during that time, we worked a lot of things that worked and didn't work. And we said, okay, now we don't need to JV anymore. We're just going to go ramp it up with our own money and go from there. And that's how we've gotten to where we are today.
That's how Same as Cash is at the corner here with 90 and was it 7th Street, I think?
No,
This is-
36. Highway 36 and
Highway
and 90.
I know it's just down the street from Bob's Tacos. So that's
you know Bob's Tacos.
Oh, I wanted to stop on the way. I was running so late today. I was like, man, I need.
Nah, and they close at 3, man. That's the problem. But don't worry, we had tacos today.
Just not with you.
Yeah.
yeah, right, exactly. So okay, so you guys started off with hard money. You started JVing with other people, and so you've kind of got these integrated system here. You've got the wholesale. You got to go out. You're finding the leads. You're bringing them in. You're wholesaling them to your other company.
That's correct.
With the other partners, and so you've got this nice little all in-house system going on, which a lot of people, which is key because doing it all yourself can run you into the ground real quick. So everyone else was full. You guys are still hungry. I like to hear that, especially in the story. So how did you guys? I mean, hard money. Everyone knows. I'm sure Quest, Zeus, Red Door, Catalyst, some of the other big hard money companies here in Houston. How did you guys transition into using private money? Because I know you guys have a lot of Quest money, Quest IRA money. So
yes.
Kind of walk us through how. what was it? After Dennis quit his job, did he just start hanging out at Quest or?
That was part of it, but I guess, and Ricardo can tell this story better than I do. I was more focused in the marketing and real estate side of listing houses, but I think the one deal that went south was that one here in Richmond.
I'll tell you, no, it was the one in it was a deal in Angleton. I had a hard money lender lined up for funding on a house that we found in Angleton, and everything was fine until the day of closing. They called me up, or the and I'm not gonna mention any names, but the mortgage broker calls me up, said, "Hey, Ricardo, your deal is not funding today." And I said, "What? Why is it not funding?" He said, "Well, because you're gonna flip it. You're not gonna rent it." And I was like, "Who told you that? I don't know what I do with these properties, man. I flip them, I fix them first, and then I'll put them in the market for both.
The market will dictate what happens.
The market will dictate what happens." Well, no, the lender wants to know if you want to rent it. Then, so he tried to renegotiate with me some sort of different rate or whatever. And my take on the deal was, I think my broker is screwing me out of this deal, so they come around and take the house. Okay, because it was a house that had a lot of cash flow, and luckily enough, I had already lined up somebody to move funds over from their traditional IRA account into a Quest IRA account, and he was kind of like on standby to do one of my deals. But because I had this hard money loan already in place, I was being loyal to the hard money lender, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because I could have used private money. That would have been my first deal with private money without having to go and get pre-qualified and all of these things with a hard money lender. Well, a hard money lender was not loyal to me that day. So I quickly called Dennis, because Dennis was the realtor on the transaction. I said, "Dennis, you need to call the realtor, but you need to let him know that we're going to close 3 days later, because now we're going to use a Quest account." And that was our first private money deal. And it's funny because he was from a guy that used to work for me that got laid off with me that day.
Really?
So my employee loaned me money to go flip a house after we both been laid off.
That's great.
So it was great. He's a great friend of mine. I'm gonna say hi to Mike. He knows who he is. I'm not gonna mention any last name, but
I will bleep it out if need be. Don't
no.
worry.
So Mike is good. Mike is good. He knows who he is.
Which house was this? I can't.
That was the
just say
plantation.
The number.
Plantation.
Okay, plantation. Okay.
So 3 days later, we were at the closing table, getting funded with private money.
The private money lender out of a self-directed IRA.
Right. So, because we brought this guy, we knew about Quest. I mean, I knew about Quest through Dennis. Dennis was more involved with Quest than I was. And he's the one that kind of like schooled me with how Quest worked and the whole 9 yards. He had his money in Quest, and he actually did a loan for us. I think it was later on.
Yeah, the Fields. That's the Richmond house I was talking about.
Right, a house in Richmond. So he actually became my private lender on another deal. And then we said, look, we need to start showing up at Quest and kind of like getting to know other people, network, and next thing you know, all my friends are getting laid off, and the first thing they call me now, because now they know I'm doing something else. So they say, if Ricardo did it, I can find another way to do it too while I find another job. And what I will say is, okay, number one, thank you for calling me. Number two, you need to go to Quest. And they're like, you need to go where? Yeah, Quest IRA, man. You need to go there. You need to move all your IRA funds to Quest or your 401ks. Yeah. That way we can start getting something. So quickly, we got $2 or $3 million worth of funds.
You said 2 or 3 million quickly.
Yeah, quickly, because it happened fast.
Yeah.
It happened within 4 or 5 months.
Well, all these people are being laid off from the oil and gas industry where they have been working for years and years, and
welcome to Houston.
Yeah,
and growing that IRA, that retirement account. So once they're laid off, it's like it's hanging in there doing nothing. So yeah, when you start adding 300 here, 200 there, a guy that initially said that had 80,000 and turned out to be 800,000.
About $1 million, yeah.
I mean,
so
it started growing quickly where, the funds that were available from private lenders, and I don't think we never ever look back to hard money.
No, I don't even
It's
think
been
about
strictly,
it anymore.
Yeah.
It's been strictly, how do you call it? The lender nation out there.
Yeah, it's my lender nation. There they
Yeah,
are.
so it's just to be honest, thank to you guys. It's because we're doing today what we're doing, and
To me, Quest was a blessing.
it still
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It saved my life, literally, from going, because now I'm laid off. I don't have income for months, and all my cash reserves are just going down fast.
Yeah.
Everything that I could put away in a few years was going away in a few months.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when you find yourself with more month at the end of your money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
15th of the month, and you're like, oh,
You cashed
how am
out.
I going to freaking, pay for things now? And because I have been flipping for so long, I knew a lot about general contracting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started paying myself, was through the general contract work. Now I will go and subcontract everything, make sure the project got done, and I get a little bit to pay bills, basically. So I didn't get anything to make it rain or any of that crap, I will make it rain if I sell the house. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. But that was never the case,
But
man.
you paid yourself steady throughout the process as you're flipping these
It
houses
wasn't
and
even
wrapping up.
steady, man, because it was like, do I have enough money to pay myself on this project?
Right.
Yes or no? And the answer for the most part is no, because you got a rehab that's supposed to get 40 grand. It goes for 45,000 or 50,000 or 55,000 because he got out of budget. So now, not only I'm short of money, but maybe I started bouncing it off my credit cards or whatever, just so I could get some cash to pay my bills.
Right.
But quickly, things started growing and growing and growing and growing to where now oxygen was coming to my mouth and nose more regularly.
Nice.
And then at the same time, I told Dennis, I said, Dennis, we need to get going with this wholesaling fast because that's what's going to pay bills. Rehab is okay, but that is not enough to keep me going and the rest of the guys. So we grew to where we are today out of necessity. It wasn't because it's nice to be big. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Some people say, okay, it's nice to be big and it's nice to have millions of dollars worth of fundings and having different multiple streams of income and different companies. For the most part, people, they get full very fast. As soon as they get a little bit of money, they're satisfied and that's it. They stop. We couldn't do it. And we still don't do it. The moment we get money, we reinvest it. That way we stay hungry. So we're constantly chasing more and chasing more and chasing more and chasing more. And we were having that conversation just this morning with another guy. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, how do you guys blow up so big? And it's a lot of people don't know who we are. And it's okay. We want to keep it that way because we're focused on the business itself.
Right.
We're not selling coaching programs. We're not selling, I'm going to be your guru type deal. That's why we got our podcast. It's just to teach people how to do it.
Go ahead and give the name of that podcast.
RenovatingRichesRadio.com. So
Renovating.
You see, that's how we go from Same as Cash to Renovating Riches. You see?
You see that there? You see that there? Yeah.
So Dennis is actually the one that brought it up one day. He said, Ricardo, everything that we're doing, we need to give back. And I said, I agree, man. How do we do this? Well, what do you think if we do a podcast? And I said,
that brilliant me, right?
I said, we do what? I didn't even know what a podcast was.
Are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, wow,
Dead
okay.
serious. Can you elaborate
Yeah.
more on that?
Man, this. I'm very bad, with the stories, and I tend to forget. But at the time, I think I was listening to Bigger Pockets, maybe like on a daily basis. When I learned about Bigger Pockets podcast, maybe it was like show 90 something, so I had a lot of catch up to do, and in a matter of weeks, I was listening to 2 or 3 of the episodes every day. So I was able to catch up with the live one that was coming out every Thursday, and I love the idea, of the podcast. How you can learn while you're driving, especially these houses that we're picking up that are outside of the Houston area. I mean, we were driving at least hour and a half to get to a property and then an hour and a half back. So that alone leads you enough time to listen to 3 podcasts. So I got hooked on the idea of, learning through that venue. And yeah, I thought maybe we could do the same thing. But here's the catch. When we proposed doing it at first, the idea was to do it in Spanish because there's like hundreds of podcasts out there on real estate and investing that are all English, but we couldn't find one that was in Spanish. So the idea first was, okay, let's do it in Spanish to help, especially our investors. A lot of our investors were not only lending us money, they wanted to do exactly what we were doing, how we flip houses, how we find houses. And most of them, like Ricardo said, are his friends, from people from Venezuela, all Spanish speaking. And we decided, let's target that audience. Maybe we'll make a killing and we'll get, millions of downloads, which, by the way, it's very hard to do. We learned that very fast.
Yes, it is.
It's not as easy as it looks, all these people that have very successful YouTube channels. And, it takes a lot of work. But, yeah, we started our podcast in Spanish, and we did a few episodes, and we got response from people. But then the people we were JVing with, doing the marketing thing and finding houses, they started asking, hey, when are you going to do one in English? And we're like, no, this is strictly Spanish. And then after a few weeks, hey, you need to do one in English because I can't understand anything you're saying, or put subtitles or something. And we're like, no, well, you need to understand this is geared more towards, Spanish-speaking audience because there's nothing out there. Then finally they convinced us to do one in English, and it was crazy. People on Facebook saying, oh, that's awesome, guys. Finally, you did one in English. And then we were like, okay, so now we need to do one in English, one in Spanish, one in English, one in Spanish. And later on, it turned out where, instead of having 2 different channels, we decided to merge everything under renovatingrichesradio.com and just work with the titles. So when you go in and look at the videos, you know which ones are in Spanish, which ones are in English, and we keep serving both audiences just under one roof.
Because what was happening on that deal was that we were losing audience because they got confused. Am I on the Spanish channel or the English channel or what? So one day we said, okay, that's it. We need to just close one of the channels, merge everything together, and let them figure it out with the titles. But the reason why we started doing that was because we wanted to teach others how to do what we did without pretty much expecting anything in return. It has more to do with the law of abundance than anything else. And also, we were getting calls from, we still do. We get people that show up here in our office like, hey man, do you have 5 minutes? And we're like, okay, I'm in the middle of something. I'll tell you what do you want? Well, I want to ask you what list I should mail, or they want some sort of coaching. And what we tell them is like, look, go to our website, go to renovatingrichesradio.com, download our podcast, watch all our videos. We don't hold anything back.
Right.
We're going to tell you what to do. We're going to tell you what works, what has not worked for us. You grab the best, and then if you have a question, then we can be more specific. And that's what pretty much we're doing with most of the people is we're gearing them towards going to our platform and for them to learn and get going in this business.
And it also was fun, our first episode we interviewed Ricardo's mom, and oh my god.
Dude, you know what the best part of the show is?
What's that?
Drinking beer afterwards.
Drinking beer. I'm looking forward to that too. Then.
Yeah, so
we used to record them Thursday evenings when we were in Brookshire, and then right after the show we went to a local place that was by on our way home. There was we were gonna shout out to Growler's Bar.
Yeah. Growlers, you need to send the Private Lenders Podcast a little check, okay?
Yes, yeah. All right. Or just keep the bourbon flowing when I'm in town, please.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Yeah. 1463.
But we for the most part we had fun. We did it. I don't think at the beginning when we decided to start the podcast, we didn't know how it would come back. Or the way
we weren't even
back.
expecting for it to come back. We were just doing it because we thought it was a good thing to do. That's it.
Yeah. We just decided, we have a little bit extra cash. Let's invest in the whatever system we need to start doing it. We started doing it. We were having fun Thursday nights, But then we started seeing that somehow it turned around and people were coming to us with money and saying, hey, I listened to your podcast. How can I get involved? I got a little bit of money here, a little bit of money. Okay, yeah, put it on Quest. And, we quickly realized that this is paying back somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not getting a fat check every time we do a podcast or we're not getting any advertising yet, but it was helping our other businesses. I don't know if you understand what,
No, it's I have a very similar story how the Private Lender podcast started. Just sitting on vacation with the family and at a beach, and I hate beaches. But
you what?
If I'm at a beach, I want to.
You're
fish.
a mountain guy, huh?
I'm a more colder weather. I always joke around, like the Led Zeppelin song. My people come from the land of the ice and snow. So Anglos,
So are you a background Irish or Scottish or something like that?
A lot of British Isles and some Scandinavian, German.
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. I am. My nickname in Spanish is. It's either güero or pelón.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So I don't have any hair, but yeah. So it fortunately it was raining. I was reading a book on e-commerce, and everything just kind of coalesced. And because of this podcast, I met you guys. And hey, Ricardo's like,
that's
got a podcast,
true. When I saw your banner, I was like, "There's another guy like us, man."
It's all about
another crazy guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like there's another idiot who's sinking money. I'm thinking I like this guy. And then Dennis was there, but it was all up. Nobody was really teaching about private lending, and for me, private lending when I was in the oil field and I came out of it. I've got golden handcuffs. I've got a good opportunity where I'm at with my 8 to 5. But
there you go.
There it is. At 8
start
to 5.
Changing that.
I tend to work 6 to 3 so I can have time to for the kids and whatnot. But still, it great opportunity there. But private lending at Quest IRA, tons of plugs there. And stay tuned to the end of the show. You'll get a special link for discounts if you want to open up an account.
Oh, cool.
Just to throw that in there. But I started private lending, and because of that, it opened so many doors. It kept me in with real estate people, number one.
Right.
It kept me around deals. It kept me relevant, and speaking with people. And out of it, I've met Landon, my partner, and we've got a side business with that. And more and more is coming out of it to where at some point I want to be at that position where where you were, Dennis, where it's like okay, I got to make a decision. I got to set a date, and I'm quickly working towards that. But with the podcast, it's just. Look, this isn't anybody. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, my mom had to go to work at my high school to make sure I graduated. Okay, I mean that tells you I was a slacker.
Right.
And so and I hated money. I was like, I didn't hate money, but accounting and business. I didn't care about all that. I was a philosophy major in college, for crying out loud. So
wow.
So and all of a sudden, bam, here it is. I started handling other people's money when I came out of the oil field for my job, and then just everything just kind of pointed this way. And and I can honestly say since that day on the beach when it was raining, I'm sitting at the hotel with the kids and the wife. I have enjoyed every single day. I have not regretted one day or dreaded it getting up, and just excited about taking care of my job, but also how am I going to do with this podcast? What am I going to do? And I've learned a tremendous websites, Facebook. You guys are teaching me Facebook. Thank you for that, because I don't have time, but it's all about giving back. At some point I do want to make some money off of this, but this is great. I mean, coming over here, I mean, we set up, hey, let's get together. Let's do, so just for Lender Nation, we're doing my show right now. We're going to take a break, probably eat some chocolate, maybe drink a beer, and then we're going to do Renovating Riches Radio.
How about that?
Right after this. So stay tuned for that if you're on Facebook or Instagram Live or whatever. This is being, I got all these cameras here. I'm going to post a picture of these cameras up on the website here or the Facebook page. But anyway, this is great. I need to kind of bring it back into so $2 to $3 million of private money. How much private money have you guys pulled out or raised since?
Right now we got. It's more than that. We got probably. So we have 30 properties that are financed. I would guesstimate. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we have sit down and go over house by house how much money we asked from our lenders to come up with the figure, but
it's probably you're in the neighborhood of $5 to $6 million that we currently have right now under flips.
All private money.
All private.
Everything private.
No bank.
No bank.
hard money
Nothing.
lenders.
No.
Nope.
I love it.
No. If we add banks, we got rentals that are refinanced already, and those are on the banks.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with private.
But if there's a private lender out there that want to lend at 4 or 5% for 30 years, please.
Yeah, if you want to lend at three,
www.sameascash.com.
right? If you want to go at 3.5%, hey, I will take it, man. All the money you throw at us.
If you do that, though, please go through privatelenderpodcast.com, and I will set you up with them.
Make sure he gets a referral fee.
I'm going to get my donuts and my beer.
That's
out
right.
of that,
I got a couple of points origination.
The reality is that the way we set up our loans, they're all short term, meaning 12 months or less. There are some that might be a little bit longer, but it's very high percentage short term, so we can just acquire the property, fix it, and put it back in the market either for sale or rent. And if we rent them, then we refi out with a bank loan. But I've been telling Ricardo, there's going to be private lenders out there that don't mind parking their money long term.
Yeah.
In that case, and maybe you can teach us a little bit about this, but in that case, we'll be more than happy to take that money because it's easier to refi.
For us, it's really a cash flow deal. For us, we don't look at the percentage anymore. You'll go ask anybody out there on the street, hey, will you do a mortgage at 8% interest rate? The answer will be no. Because to them, 8% is like crazy.
You need to talk to me.
No, right, but but I'm talking about a regular person. Like,
sure,
we are not regular.
Oh no,
okay?
no. So like a retail buyer wanting to pay 8%.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
absolutely.
They're like 4%. I mean, I gotta be at 4.5 or 3.5 or whatever
the going rate is.
Yeah, whatever the.
Let me go to bankrate.com
right.
and see what's going on.
Yeah, Bank of America rate, those kind of things, right? Now, if you ask me, hey, Ricardo, will you borrow at 8%? I will be like, okay, let me look at the rentals on the area to make sure I can put a couple of $100 in my pockets. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because to me it's a cash flow game. If I can cash flow $300, $400, $500 off a 8% note, who cares? Yeah. All I care about is my $300, $400, right? And when that note when that property is not rented, guess what I'm doing with those interests? I'm writing them off.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the 8% really doesn't bother us much. So that's why we pay, for the most part, on the flips 10%. We're working on getting that lower a little bit because now we're getting people that got more money.
Yeah.
Because the problem is for the people that got a lot of money. The problem is not for the people that got little money. Little money wants 10%, 12, all of that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of money, they're like, how can you make it all work for me?
Yeah.
And so, okay, let me tell you something. I got all these $5 million loans right now at 10%. How about you give it to me for 7? Sure. And then you can refinance out. But how about we do it for a long term? That way we can, you sell the note. And that's where we are right now. So we're getting more investors with a lot bigger chunks that want to put all their money to work, and they know they can do it with us because we got the volume.
Right.
So,
and you brought up a good question. I like diversifying. So, like you say, you're not anti-corporate. I'm not anti-Wall Street. I'm still in Wall Street, but I prefer to. I guess the analogy is this: when I go to the casino, I don't like playing slots because I just push buttons and nothing happens. Or I win or lose. You're always going to lose. But with blackjack or craps, at least I feel like I'm involved in it, right? So in my investing,
it's not just luck, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to investing, to me, Wall Street's the biggest casino in the world. It's geared for the house to win, and I mean the brokers and the banks, investment banks, and that's fine. That's not a complaint, but I know it's geared for them. With private lending, I found that I was in control. Somebody could come to me with a deal and say, "This is what I want to do." I got a wholesaler who's selling this, what kind of LTV, what kind of loan to value do you want? And you're like, well, it's at 75%. I'm like, okay, well, my criteria is maximum of 70, and you got to be a good friend to get 70. So, put some money in that deal, and it can work. And cause I'm not going to get stuck out with it, but at least I always looked with the worst possible scenario and work backwards. So I protect myself. So,
right.
And that's what I try to tell and teach people as well. But with the money that I have, it's mostly old 401ks from me and my wife, and we converted them into self-directed IRAs with Quest. I do a little short term to get the higher, 10, 12%.
Yeah.
I'll even do a little JV if it's a little risky. just with my IRA, honey, not with yours. But so, yeah, but I mix it up, and then I will do a 3-year at 8%. In someone who's like, say, owner financing or trying to do a lease option or something like that, and I don't mind because I know that I don't have to work that money for 3 years.
Yeah,
and I don't mind taking a little. And people think, I found I can get 10 or 14%. Like, yes, you can, but how many months is that money going to sit out there earning nothing?
I got a house for you already.
Dropping, so
2808. No,
so we'll take this offline and talk
right.
about that. But yeah,
with a beer.
Of course.
So
the reality is that I've never liked banks, to be honest, and my thing with brick and mortar banks and national banks, we all know them, it's that they don't like lending you money when you need it. They only lend you money when you don't need it. It's like,
that's right.
and to
here's $100,000 credit card.
Yeah, it's like,
and you're like, what
when
am I
when I was doing my corporate job and I had an excellent income and I didn't need a cent or a loan for anything. I got all the offers on the mail. Here's this credit card, or here's this other, or take a home.
You should have taken all of them.
And I didn't need the money at that time. Then when I really needed the money because I'm investing, then they shut the door and say like, no, get out. We don't want to see you. And to me, that's so wrong that I kind of like told myself I'll stay as far as possible from banks as I can. I mean, there's a need right for your debit card or whatever, but as far as investing goes, I'll go with private lenders any day, any time before I even reach out to corporate brands and national banks.
I'm really glad you brought that up because somebody asked me one day, when I started to tell them I was doing the private lender podcast. Well, what's your elevator pitch? I'm like, oh, crap, I don't have one yet. I better go get it. And it took a while, but when we were when you're young. You want to change the world, and then you get out in the world, and you just want to make rent. You just want to make sure your kids have enough to eat. You got a roof over your head, and I've been real fortunate, and I'm very grateful for the life that I've had. And it came to me, I still want to change the world, and that's why I'm doing this podcast because it's a way it's a way to get out there. And like I said, I was a philosophy major in college because I wanted to be a teacher. I thought that would be the most noble thing I could do would be teach people, not what to think, but how to think, and then. That obviously didn't work out for me because I had a very good professor, Dr. Williams. Thank you. You let me know how much philosophy professors make. And
studying Nietzsche. And
that's my favorite Nietzsche.
My God!
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you listen to the show. My daughter's going to do a quote from Nietzsche. I already know which one. I do. My daughters do that now, but it's to educate people, and I really think that we're living in some extremely exciting times. I know there's a lot of crap going on right now, especially this country's divided, and there's some bad stuff in the world. But we are living in amazing times, and what's going to happen with blockchain and banks and title companies and everything else,
bingo,
is changing. It's completely changing.
I can't wait until blockchain. Does what it's set out to do. Because
so just to give you out there, Keith, for your podcast, for Lenders Nation. Lenders Nation. We are starting a new company called the Block Iron Group. Guess where the block comes from?
Can't imagine.
Blockchain.
I guess blockchain, the Block Iron Group, huh?
Yeah. So Dennis and I, we invest a lot in cryptos and stuff like that.
Okay.
We like it. It keeps us occupied, and it's kind of like a hobby right now because we don't put like a lot of money into it.
$500,000.
Yeah, we don't do any of that yet, but.
I need to borrow from you guys, man. You putting $500,000 in crypto?
No.
I'm just saying we don't put. I mean,
hey, it's funny.
Like 5,000.
I just got 20 units of some crypto. For free. They're worth 65 cents a piece, and I'm sure they're going to drop to nothing soon. But I wanted to dip my toe. I'm not going to go Bitcoin. Look, I'm not suggesting anybody do it or not do it, but it's not for me. It's out of my comfort level. But I wanted to dip my toe into it because, well, the reason why Block Iron is coming together. I mean, this is some true.
Block Iron basically.
This is some cool shit. All right, this is some really cool stuff.
Block Iron came out of, and it's not a blockchain or anything like that. We have a private lender actually who approached us and said, "Look, man, I can get a lot of money, like literally a lot of money.
He's friends of the friends of the
Yeah.
friends, and they all have money. And
So that's one thing. You hit one rich guy, and they all know a bunch of other rich guys, and he's like, and I want to bring them to you for your flipping business. And I said, man, I don't think my flipping business is good for all that money.
Not going to support that much.
I cannot support that much with houses. So hold your thoughts there. Let's keep using your money for now.
Pause.
Bring some guys, every now and then we'll do some flips. But let me think about the strategy on what we're going to do to raise a ton of cash and where we're going to park it. The one thing is that this particular guy, I'm not going to mention any names or groups, used to belong to another group that does a lot of investings in large multifamilies, okay?
I know, yep.
Okay, so I'm not going to get into that.
Nope, they got to pay to get a plug on this show.
Right. So one of the things is when he told me he was there, I kind of told him, I said, look, man, are you happy where you are? And he at the time he seemed to be happy. And I said, I know of them, but I don't belong there. Nor do I want to be there, because even though there's a lot of good things to learn, and they're teaching a lot of people a lot of good things, a lot of things that go behind the doors on the deals are not legitimate or clear. And he kind of he took note of that day. Then I introduced him to another investor that used to be part of the group as well, who's actually one of our private lenders, and they both talked. And this other investor told him, look, man, when I was there, this is what I saw. And the other guy's like, huh. So he started asking questions. And when he started asking questions, he got shut down pretty fast. And asking questions was very simple. Hey, give me the number of these other lenders that are on this one deal. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't disclose who was on the deal or whatnot, because they were trying to protect, I guess, their deal.
The structure of whatever
structure
they're putting
of the
together,
deal.
yeah.
And
I'm not going to call it a scam, but yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So exactly. So the deal.
I guess I just did.
The deal, right? So quickly he got kicked out.
Yeah.
And so he comes back. He's like, I'm furious. Now I got kicked out and blah, blah, blah. Let's build something. I was like, just hold on, man. Just give me some time. Let me think about it and see how this thing will take shape. At this time, I'm telling Dennis, Dennis, we can literally be sitting in front of hundreds of millions of dollars, because I know that his list is big.
that takes too many houses.
That's too many houses. We don't have enough houses for all that money. And the problem is, I don't want to be the guy telling people, yeah, come bring your money here, and then I don't have a place to put it, because then that money will leave and never come back. So one of my contractors, who's actually a builder, approached me. He's actually my neighbor. He approached me one day, said, hey, man, come eat pizza. And I was like, really? He's going to invite me to eat pizza? In his house. He's got a pizza place in the backyard.
Better be some good pizza.
Yeah, it was good. A very good pizza.
Because he has a brick oven
Yeah.
that he built in his backyard.
He's
so.
Italian, so he's all about
They all
pizza.
have at least one pizza up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is weird. So I go there, and he's my buddy, right? So we drink beer all the time, but this time I'm eating pizza, and I'm like, so what's up, man? What you got? And he's like, okay, man, I got this project I want to do. I found the land. I know the buildings I want to put in that land, but I don't have the funds. So that's why I was there to eat pizza, right? Because he knew I could get funds. And I was like, okay, I can get the funds, man. Let's look at the project. And quickly, that started taking shape. And even though that project didn't go through because some things that had to do with the land.
An engineer came and
Yeah.
kind of burst everyone's bubble. I don't want to say who the engineer was. But.
Yeah. He was wearing like a same as cast jacket, and it's not me. But that's the good thing about having a civil engineer on your team, right? So
Dennis is the bubble burster.
Well,
is that,
we were
is that the nickname here.
look, we were doing the due diligence. Otherwise,
No,
we would have
that's-
bought a lot that we couldn't do anything with,
Right.
or at least what he wanted to do, right? But I reached out to this other guy and said, look, man, I got one of our builders, and we got a lot, and this is what we want to do, some mini warehouses. Will you want to be a part of it? And he's like, absolutely. And then I said, look, this is what could be the thing that we've been looking for to park all the money.
Yeah.
And that's how the Block Iron Group started.
So it's basically our development arm that we're just starting to put together to do just that. Develop commercial property, develop
multifamilies,
and we're starting to look at that side. I've been involved with that from my early days as an engineer. How to subdivide land and put streets and infrastructure and make it work. So that's where we're going, kind of like with that the Block Iron group.
But relating it to the blockchain, why did we get that name is fairly simple. In blockchain, everything is all the contracts are verifiable.
Yep.
And everything is there and it stays there. You can't alter it later on because it's being verified by independent computers or whatever.
Correct.
By miners, right? What we wanted to do was create something to where all our investors can come and verify it. That way it's all a blank sheet of paper or a blank slate, pretty
Full
much.
transparency, yeah.
Full transparency. And that's why it took that name, the Block Iron Group.
It's a great name.
So I think we came up with it actively.
Oh my God! It took too long.
It took. Yeah, we started with some crazy names, and then we had we call it the McAllen 85.
That's another story.
You can do a whole podcast about that one.
I think we will. Let's go ahead and book that one, that recording.
Yeah.
McAllen 85.
Yeah,
okay.
and that one actually took place in Vegas, believe it or not.
Okay.
So,
with that investor of ours.
Yeah, with that investor of ours.
Which, by the way, it's another thing I want to say. We love, having private investors being part of our business.
Yes.
Because we can take them on trips to Vegas. We took another private lender last year to the Formula One.
Yeah,
races
we went to a Formula One race
Austin.
in Austin.
I can't do that with Chase and and
yeah, I
Wells
can't take
Fargo.
Wells Fargo to the Formula One race, man. They're too big,
Well, can you take other podcast hosts to like
We
other
can.
places?
Actually, if we would have met you back then, we did a podcast from Austin because
at the race.
Yeah, we brought all our equipment, not at the race itself.
At the Airbnb house that we rented.
Oh, cool.
For.
Yeah. That's
So
the other cool thing about podcasts, man. Everything's mobile.
Everything is mobile. So we rented an Airbnb house for the whole Same as Cash team. It was the Same as Cash team pretty much, and we're like, man, let's do a podcast today before the race. And we got there. We talked about 45 minutes on driving for dollars in the area because that's exactly what we did. And we had a great time. But one of our private lenders was there with us.
He actually cooked one night.
He did the barbecue.
He got in the grill, and man, he was. So he not only lends us money, he cooks for us, and we're very fortunate.
Well, that's worth whatever interest rate he wants, man. If he's cooking for you,
I tell you what, and he's very good. So he's definitely going to the next one. But anyways, that's pretty much how that started, and it came from one of our lenders saying, "Look, guys, we can do more." We weren't ready for it, but we said, "Okay, let's park that on the cooler for now."
yeah.
And let's work around it until it starts. And right now it's taking a better shape.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, hey, fellas, looking at the clock here. I say let's pause this one for now, and we'll go offline, drink some beer, and we'll do your show, and then we're gonna come back. We'll strategize about the next episode where you guys are on the Private Lender Podcast. So go ahead and tell them how they can get a hold of Same as Cash, you guys, and the podcast, the company, everything. Give all that good information.
Very easy. SameAsCash.com. And we paid a lot of money for that website, by the way.
for the domain, not the website.
Yeah,
the domain.
So you can find us SameAsCash.com. If you want to call us, our number is 832-535-CASH. That's 832-535-CASH. Or you can find us on YouTube, Renovating Riches Radio.
Or Same as Cash. We got actually
Same
the
as
Same
Cash.
as Cash.
Facebook, Same as Cash. It's everywhere. You just type Same as Cash Google and we'll show up.
If you want to buy the name, let me know. Everything's got a price.
No.
Everything's for sale, and Private Lender Podcast will get a cut. We'll broker that deal.
Yeah.
If you want to buy the domain name.
Why not? Why not?
Start the bidding at 6 figures, maybe?
No, we're looking at millions, man.
Oh, even better.
We're looking at millions. So,
well, Dennis, Ricardo, I appreciate you guys coming on the show and actually letting me come into your studio and hosting my show here, and broadcasting it out on social media.
To the world.
To the world. This is my first broadcast. I had to text my wife earlier, and actually, let me see if.
How do I look? How do I look?
Yeah.
Is that
yeah. How do I look? My kids are calling, but
what are you doing there?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, sameascash.com, and Ricardo and Dennis, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Keith.
And
we'll
feel at home, man, and whenever you want to come.
For whoever's watching us right now, we'll see you in about 15 minutes. How about
15 minutes sounds good. All right, take care,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Well, that's going to do it. I'd like to thank Ricardo and Dennis for allowing me into their home studio and recording my podcast. If you'd like more information on Ricardo and Dennis's business, sameascash.com or renovatingrichesradio.com. You can find them there. Of course, you can find them on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere else. Check the social media channels. Or if you can just go to the privatelenderpodcast.com, go to the show notes, episode 16, and find out more information there. I'd like to remind you that up until 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on April 17th, you can open up any Quest account for free. They waive the $100 opening fee. You can go to questira.com, select open account, select the account you'd like, and on the promo code, coupon code, put Keith Q, Keith in the letter Q, and submit that with your ID and the other documents that they need to prove your identity and open the account. If that's received by 11:59 on the 17th, that $100 is waived. So take advantage of that. The Roth IRA, in my personal opinion, is one of the most powerful tools any investor can have. And a self-directed IRA is even much more powerful. So anyhow, check richclub.org. I'll be teaching the class on May 31st. I want to get that plug in there one last time. And I wish everybody out there listening safe and happy and prosperous private lending and investing. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Private Lender Podcast with your host, Keith Baker. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit privatelenderpodcast.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time.